We'll see. We do have an agenda here. I didn't hear any hearings from citizens. I'll give it a second chance if anybody's here. No, okay. And we have CEO Star Awards.
If you guys will indulge me for a minute, I actually have a story to tell. One of our care center employees was selected to ride Access to Work the morning of August 26th. Addison Brenner, another care center employee, checked on this person's trip that morning when she hadn't arrived to work on time and noticed that this employee had not shown up for their Access trip. Their shift started at 8 a.m. Tony Jones, another care center employee, called multiple times to check on this employee. However, that employee never answered the phone. Charlene Calhoun, the customer service manager, was alerted to what was going on with this employee. Once Charlene arrived, she continued to check if anyone had heard from our employee, which they had not. Tony Addison and the entire care center staff that morning were concerned, and efforts continued to contact our employee unsuccessfully. Charlene called this employee's emergency contact, but there was no answer. She tried several times and left a voicemail. But for our employees, that's not enough. When Matt Mormon, the service quality manager, arrived in the office, Charlene, Tony, and the care center staff mentioned that something just didn't seem right. Charlene and Matt made the decision to go to this employee's house to check on them to see if they were okay. Matt and Charlene kept Adrian and our HR staff and the transit operations aware of what was going on with this employee. Matt and Charlene knocked on this employee's door. There was no answer. They notified this employee's granddaughter and the police. When the granddaughter arrived, before the police, they entered the house and called out for our employee. They could hear our employee faintly saying, "Help," from upstairs of the house. This employee's granddaughter, Charlene, and Matt rushed upstairs, contacted 911 for medical assistance while they helped our employee with their oxygen tank and testing for blood sugar. Once the medics arrived, Charlene, Matt, and the employee's granddaughter stepped aside as they provided the needed aid. HR and transit operations were both notified of what had happened. And at this point in time, I'd like Charlene, Tony, and Matt to stand, and I want to thank them for going above and beyond. Most places that you work, you don't show up for work, and you just weren't there that day. But that day, because of how much they care for our customers, our employees, the welfare of our organization, they saved someone's life that day. So I'd like to give you a CEO Star Award and thank you for being absolutely amazing people. Would you guys come up here?
You might want to set this down while we take the pictures. So, right, thank you. Yeah, I can hold it. Make sure you know which one's which.
Here, man. I can hold it, man. Can we get one more?
Can I get one with the certificates?
Oh.
Good work.
When they said Charlotte County, we went and I looked at each other.
I will tell you guys, my mother uses Access. And if ever my mother is not there for her trip, I get a phone call. They do this every day for all of our customers. They look out for our customers and they check on them, they check to see how they're doing. All the employees, Lisa Alec, we really care about the community that we serve. Guys, thank you very much.
So they would
Thank
call
you.
them. They would be the ones, like, so I know someone who want new services. Do I just have them call? Okay, great,
No,
wonderful.
basking in the moment.
Yeah.
That's absolutely amazing. I've got a few things to address, Chair update. First, I want to talk about Blink. I'm sure it'll come up again
Yeah.
tonight. I'm sure Daryl will talk about it. It was an absolutely amazing event. I'll share that my family, we took the Cincinnati State Shuttle down on Saturday, and like the only complaint I had is I didn't get to enjoy the DJ very long because they got me on a bus so fast. I was actually upset. I was trying to get a photo with the bus, and they're like, "Get on, go!" and it was an amazing night. Running into tons of different people, it felt like this just big block party for the city, and everybody was pitching in. I saw so much of our senior staff in the Riverfront Transit Center, making sure everybody got on the right bus and help them out. That was amazing. I mean, Jeff Birding randomly walked by and gave me a high five. And I was like, oh, that's the owner of FCC. That's absolutely amazing. I ran into Alan Freeman, former board member, and just talked Metro. It was just such a great event, and we were a big part of it. I think everybody in the organization contributed to it, and I know other people on the board contributed in other ways too. So, absolutely amazing events. And only 10 minutes in line. It was a big line to get back to Cincinnati State with two small kids at 11 o'clock. We stayed out way too late, and man, we went right through that line. It was incredible. Switching over, Ms. Clark asked that we discuss the coverage of Chief Teresa DG coming to the Cincinnati School Board in our next meeting. So I wanted to do that. A few updates. I'm not sure if there's additional discussion or questions that comes after that. I think we could do that. But Metro, CPS, police, it's an essential partnership for the city. And one, it enables CPS to meet its transportation needs. Really, the transit system we have is the only solution. And we do it for what, $3 to $4 million, saving CPS tens of millions of dollars, and as compared to a private operator. And we spend $1 million a year on a police detail to ensure security and safety at our transit centers. So those are some important facts. 11,000 student trips each weekday, 191,000 trips in September. That's up over 154,000 last year in September. And we're in constant communications with CPS. So one, weekly pass data reports are going in, so we know where the students are supposed to be riding, and if they're going to different places than they are anticipated to. Sometimes there's totally good reasons for that. Gets communicated back to the schools so the schools can talk with the students and the families. There's also communication on rider expectations at the schools, so we're constantly working on that. And then there are regular meetings with the city, CPS, CPD, Metro on how to innovate on these solutions. And I've been advocating, and I think others are supporting this, that we see if there are some alternative policing strategies that we could use at our transit centers. And not only might that provide better services for our community, for the students, but also might be cheaper than the police detail. And there are active talks on how that solution could better serve our community. So I wanted to give that update. Not sure if there are other questions. Yeah.
I remember we talked about the chief addressing the school board. I just forgot why. What's the purpose of the chief addressing the school board?
Well, I think her request, and you can fill in details if you like, was that the Cincinnati Public Schools send people to the transfer centers and the transit centers and supervise the students. That was the request she was making, at least as the press covered it.
So it kind of give us an update as to how things are going.
So I think the schools said we're not sending teachers out to do that. They gave a pretty solid no to that. And so we're in communications trying to come up with a different solution other than police and other than schools.
I was talking with Iris Rowley. She wanted to address the board. I didn't know how. I didn't know what to tell her, but
Our board?
She goes down and talks with the young people there because we took over that building, the old liquor store.
We haven't yet, but we're going to.
Okay, and had some recommendations as to how we could use it. So
You're in communication with
Yes.
Iris Rowley all the time, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll reach out to Iris and have a conversation. And her and I have started some of that conversation already.
Okay.
We haven't taken over that space just yet, but we are internally talking about how to use that space, and we'll include her in our conversations.
Just one question, is there an update on the survey that's been done? The study? Are we?
Or RTC or?
Oh, that study.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're close.
That's what I was just wondering.
Yes, and hopefully at the next committee meeting, it will be done
Okay.
so we can come and have that conversation with the board. Yeah, it is very close to
Okay,
being
good.
completed.
Less of a question and just more of a appreciation for the staff, because like what you said is right. Like we are, CPS is only able to deliver these students to school every day because they're working with us, and watching this team iterate and solve problems and respond to problems. Like there's not and I've sat in on some of these meetings and others I have not been a part of, but watching Daryl and Andy and the team basically say, lead with yes and then figure out how to do it is just a really impressive approach for this organization. There has not been a time where I've been in a room where someone said, we can't do that. That would be complicated, or that might be expensive, or that would be hard, but student safety, rider safety, community safety are all at the forefront of that. And so I just really appreciate that that's the approach of this organization, is not to, well, we just put people on buses and get them where they need to go and everything else is not our problem. Like that's not the mentality of this organization.
Right.
And I'm so proud to be a part of an organization like
Thank you, Pete,
Thank you,
for
Pete.
saying that, because I agree totally with you. And back to your question and the response, what he just said was I guess the mindset that came from the school district, and that's what precipitated some discord, was that once they leave school, they weren't responsible for it.
Well, I'll tell you, this leadership team believes that the children of this community are all of our responsibilities. And we have to work together for whatever's best for the children of this community, because they're the future leaders of this community. And we will not stop until we find solutions.
I'm sure we'll continue to talk about this, but I wanted to make sure we took a moment to address it. One other point before we move on to finance is Pete sent out a memo on Red Bike and Metro and transit solutions, and I want to make sure everybody is keyed into that to read that. I'm sure we'll be having more discussions about Red Bike as well. All right, so I'm going to do finance. Ms. Clark couldn't make it, so let me just move right over into that. I have to approve the minutes first.
Approve the minutes.
Second.
Properly moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say left. Extensions. All right, thank you very much for making that easy. All right, so finance. Some amazing reports on audits. So we had Clark Schaefer in, and they took us through some opportunities in the vendor management space. So a couple low ones, 3 moderates and 1 high. And so we should pay attention to that. Mostly, I'm going to say it's around documentations, policies, procedures, and managing the vendor access for inactive vendors and that kind of thing. I think the team is after that, taking care of all these things, and I'm really glad we have the audit so that we can tighten up those procedures for our already amazing procurement and vendor management teams. So we also have some internal audits that we were informed of, in addition to the vendor ones. We have outstanding on succession planning. We have some current audits. The one I'm interested in particularly is ridership. I cannot wait, so I'm going to key you in on that as soon as we get that ridership audit. That will be great. Bridgestone tire contracts, which I know everybody is always interested in. We lease our tires. And then an AP audit. Upcoming other ones, badge access and some fixed assets. So beyond that, I know that Mr. Walker is going to take us through the financials, but I do want you to pay very close attention to it. It's a little bit of a difficult statement to read because we have a fair numbers of ups and downs, right? The big challenge is the county sales tax. So we are off for a year to date by 2.8 million on the county sales tax. But that's offset by favorable non-transportation revenue. And probably what I might say is that the leadership team has made some adjustments to spending to make sure that we're okay on the expense side. So it looks like we're doing better, but that sales tax revenue is a constant concern. We're through 6 months of reporting. So we have another 6 months that we have to find out because we are 3 months behind. So just want to make sure you pay attention to that as we go through that. And we tabled the meeting schedule as we are working out a few more details on how and when we want to have those meetings. And then we do have one action item. It is for the healthcare enrollment management services for $80,000. So I would move passage of that on the consent agenda. It's only one item, but it's a consent agenda. Natalie? Oh, no, you're just getting ready to take the vote. This is a roll call vote. If I can get a second. Thank you, Casey. Seconds. Any discussion or questions?
And then all in favor.
Oh, is it a roll call?
Yes. Mr. Bryce? Mr. Dreehouse?
Yes.
Mr. Etheridge?
Yes.
Mr. Metz?
Yes.
Ms. Moss? Yes. Ms. Robinson?
Yes.
And Mr. Smith?
All right. I think that takes us over to planning and ops. Mr.
Okay.
Dreehouse.
Thank you, Mr. Etheridge. We had a great meeting, planning and ops. Thank you all. I think everybody that's here today was in attendance at the committee meeting, and we had a great discussion. A couple of the highlights were we touched on the State of Metro. As a reminder, we have the State of Metro event every 2 years on a 2-year cycle, and it's a great way to report out to the community how our funds are being used to benefit the citizens that voted for that levy. And at that particular event, we had over 300 attendees. There was a customer testimonial. There's a blind recipient and her mother, and the mother of the blind recipient who talked about our services, which was really quite a compelling story and really validated a lot of the work that the people at Metro do. So that was the first item, or one of the key items. Another item to report out on is that our ridership was up by 8.6% over last year. So that's tracking very well. We're a little bit below budget, but still well above last year. The third item is I thought that was positive, and John and I talked about this, the preventable accidents. Our goal is to be at 0.9 per 100,000 miles. Last year we were at 1.5. This year we're tracking at 1.2. So it's a good trend, and we'd like to see that trend continue. So that came up. The final piece that I wanted to mention, and the only procurement item, is what's on your agenda today. We're going to make a motion to approve the consent agenda, and on that consent agenda is the contract award for strategic planning surveys. As a reminder, the contractor we're working with already works with Metro, and to hire an outside contractor to provide that sort of service would be duplicative, and we think this vendor is a great fit for the needs of Metro. So I'll put forth a motion to approve the consent agenda. Is there a second? Oh, wait, can I do that, or do you do that? Okay. So I'll put forth the motion to approve the consent agenda. Pete seconds. Natalie, do we do the roll?
Oh, yes. Are there any questions or comments?
Questions or comments?
Mr. Bryce? Yes. Mr. Dreehouse?
Yes.
Mr. Etheridge?
Yes.
Mr. Metz?
Yes.
Ms. Moss? Yes. Ms. Robinson?
Yes.
And Mr. Smith?
So, Mr. Etheridge, that completes our activities on planning and ops. Thank you.
And I didn't mention State of Metro in my comments, and I'm so glad you brought that up. Yeah, because that event was incredible, and I'm sure that Mr. Haley will address it at the end.
I won't have to now.
You won't have to. I try and be good and not walk over your comments, but I have to say, one of the things that was amazing about the event, beyond people traveling from DC and all over the country to celebrate us, and the local politicians who spoke absolutely amazing about the work that we've done, it was also the number of awards that were on display from this organization. It was stellar. They had to use 2 walls. And I do want to call out the team that worked on the event. The details were absolutely spectacular. Overall, absolutely amazing. All right. Financial results, Metro on the move, and then new business. So,
Thank you, Mr.
financial
Etheridge.
results.
Mr. Etheridge gave a nice quick summary, and everyone here has received the complete financial package that we had. So I'll just go over some highlights here on I call it the wall of numbers, Natalie. So if we can go to page 5. There we go. You can kind of first off look at our ridership numbers. Ridership is still trending in the right direction. If you look at the year-to-date number, we're down 3.6% year-to-date compared to our budget, but still some stellar numbers there. But also want to point out that in July, we were negative 5% compared to budget. August was negative 4.1, and we're at 3.6 now. So we're closing the gap on our ridership number, which is really nice to see. Looking at our operating revenue, we're favorable for the month and year to date. It's a consistent trend we've been seeing, primarily driven by Metro and CPS. The 7th and 8th graders this year are helping out quite a bit as well. The non-operating revenue, as Mr. Etheridge mentioned, is a bit of a mixed bag. We have the negative county sales tax number that we received the actuals for June, and that's being offset right now with investment income. Still not completely offsetting it, but from a total revenue standpoint, we're less than $1 million off year to date compared to our budget, which puts us actually less than 1%. So a lot of ups and downs there, but by and large, kind of right in line year to date with our revenue figures. Looking at our expenses, favorable, which from an expense standpoint means they're less than our budget for both month to date and year to date. We've been managing the expenses pretty well as a company, seeing the shortfall in the sales tax revenue. And you focus on the bottom line, we are at a surplus for the year to date of 2.1 million compared to an anticipated deficit. So definitely some good news here. We do track, and the sales tax is top of mind for all of us. But as Mr. Etheridge mentioned, we are managing the expenses and able to manage our expense outflow and manage that down if we need to based on our sales tax. So right now, opening up for any questions anyone here has.
This is probably a conversation for when we're actually doing our budget, but I would be interested in a little bit of color on sort of what managing our expenses looks like. What have we spread out over the 5 years rather than the 3 year, or like, I don't need granularity, but I just like that's really important. But I also want to know what we're not doing or what we're sort of doing more slowly, and that's probably a 2025 budget conversation. But just putting a pin in that for
Thank you, Mr. Metz. We'll make sure that when we go through the budget, we'll identify some of those items. Thank you, sir.
We're looking forward to that conversation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Walker. And now, Metro on the move, Mr. Haley.
So this is a message for the entire community, not just don't blink and drive. Don't drive to a Reds game. Don't drive to a Bengals game. Don't drive to an FCC Cincinnati game. Public transportation, Metro, is your way to go. Brandy, I figured you'd like that. We have an amazing transit center system in this region, and it connects people from where they live or where they are to where they want to go. It is the way to move about this city. We saw a 20% increase in ridership in Blink this year compared to 2 years ago. So 2 years ago, we did 155,000 rides. This year was 185,000 rides. People are starting to understand the power of public transportation, and we're looking forward to more people using public transportation to get to all of the places they need to get to. Election Day is coming up, and all of our service on Election Day, November 5th, we're proud to say will be free. Transportation will not be a deterrent from people getting out to vote. Also, Veterans Day is coming up on November the 11th, and all veterans on November the 11th will have access to all of our service for free to honor them on Veterans Day. I'd like to ask Khaled and Brandy to stand, if you will, and if you guys will join me in congratulating them on being C-Suite Award winners for 2023. So here at Metro, we don't get one award at a time. We took home two. We took home two C-Suite awards. I'd also like Adrian to stand, and this is a testament to everybody in our organization. We were voted one of the best places to work for African American females. So congratulations to this team.
Standing up for all of them.
And last but not least, if I can ask John Edmondson to stand, if he will, because we also got another procurement award for this year. They have literally been cleaning up for the work they're doing over in our procurement department. And last but not least, our state of Metro, Brandy and her team did an absolute amazing job. We have a good story to tell. The taxpayers of Hamilton County put their faith in us. They chose to tax themselves because they wanted a better transit system in this region. And we are delivering on that promise that we made to them. We like to thank our featured speakers, Congressman Greg Landsman, along with Commissioner President Alicia Reese and Mayor Piraval, and also the APTA President Paul Skatelis, all spoke at our State of Metro. meeting. It was absolutely fantastic, and I'd like to thank everyone that came out for it. And that is Metro on the Move.
Wait. Wasn't there another award?
I don't think so.
I think there might have been another award for Mr. Haley. And so I'm going to ask you all to stand one more time. The NAACP award.
Yes.
Absolutely amazing.
Yes. You didn't count on yourself. Let me
He is without a doubt a game changer.
yes. One comment I'd like to make, especially about the state of Metro.
Microphone.
Oh, it's not on. Thank you. The state, those of you from the board who didn't have the opportunity to attend, you really missed a special opportunity. The detail, the attention to detail. I've gone to several events at the Sharonville Convention Center. Walking in that room, and I had invited people who use our services to be my guests. And walking in that room to see the details and how everything fit was amazing. Even the tablecloths were different. We were sitting there together, and I'm telling you, it was awesome. And the team that put that together, and I always say, every time Brandy throws a party, it's out there. You guys did an excellent job. I was honored to receive an award that I was not expecting. And
But well deserved.
thank you so much for it. It was so heavy, staff had to carry it out. But just to see how the team worked together was amazing to me. And I was sharing with Daryl, as a CEO, I've worked on private boards and public boards. So I've been around very diverse opportunities and entities, and I've watched the staff of all of them. And I'm telling you, this is an amazing team. It's an amazing time to be on the board. And I really implore you, every chance you get, or every time you get a chance to just interface with the staff and the organization, take advantage of it, because we hear the report and we accept these reports. But to actually see who's behind those reports is amazing. And so I thank you for the opportunity that you've given me. And I have much appreciation for the work that you do. And I don't know what other award is out there, but I know if it's out there, you guys gonna get it. So.
Oh, absolutely amazing. Yeah.
You said something about that I think true. You see the team doing the work versus sitting in this room. And over the weekend, I just want to, from a chamber perspective, show a deep appreciation to Metro and to Tank and to Butler County RTA for the first time, also stepping in to provide transit at Blink.
Yeah.
Some of us, Andy was sitting at Tank when we did our first Blink, and others got into a room and tried to find parking lots on a map and added more over the weekend. And you guys have this down to a science now, and it shows in the numbers. And that event is not as successful as it is without Metro and the drivers and the operators and the staff. I mean, I saw a couple folks in Clifton at Cincinnati State. Like, it is a huge success, and it is seeing the team in action, because that is hard work, and it is a lot of work, and it doesn't go unnoticed. So thank you, and thanks to everyone at the organization.
And Gwen, thank you for mentioning your award.
I did it slightly, because Blake said he wasn't going to say anything.
Gwen has been bashing me on the head for years to be better and better and better and better. So we gave her the heaviest award we could possibly give her, because I knew she couldn't bash me over the head with that. Gwen, you are appreciated. Your service to this board, to this community, has been unmeasured. I mean, it really has. I can't think of anyone that deserved to get something from this organization more than you. Thank you so much for your service.
Yeah, and I have to add in,
Too late. Too late.
I was going to say, there's Landsman, Scatellis, Mayor Peervall, everybody's there. And then while I'm at the event, everybody's coming up, where's Gwen? They just want to talk to Gwen. And that is true. So thank you so much. All right, we have one more item for today. So we have an executive session. And I'm going to move that under section 121.22G1 to consider appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee, that we move into executive session. Okay, seconded by